I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, May the 21st, brought to you in part by Fairpiece, that revolutionary product that is scientifically proven. Stress shifts cattle's metabolism into survival mode, decreasing weight gain and feed conversion and worsening health outcomes. Fairpiece counteracts that stress and reduces threat perception in all cattle treated. For more information, go to fairpiece.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma, another big sale for them. Here on Tuesday, going to have about 4,500, expecting about 800 calves, most of them weighing from 400 to 600 pounds and long time weaned, including one big string of calves, the Griswold calves. There's 300 of them in the string, and they're hard weaned, hard as rocks, ready to turn out for you. They're going to have about 3,500 yearlings, about 1,500 big yearling feeding steers, about 1,000 big feeding yearling heifers, have at least 50 loads of yearlings altogether, and then another 1,000 head of mixed lighter weight grazing type yearlings. If you want to put together some grazing yearlings, I mean hard as rocks, ready to turn a flip once you get them on some grass, guys, they're going to have them for you at Beaver, Oklahoma, the Beaver County Stockyards. Just a couple, 300 cows there for the cow sale to follow the feeder sale. Lane Conkle did say that they are planning on having several fall bred cows. If you guys are interested in some of those, get on to DVAuction.com. View that sale. If you think you might want to bid, get a hold of Beaver County Stockyards early. Have them approve you to bid. I tell you what, going to be a lot of cattle there that have a lot of people are going to be demanding, and you might as well get in on them. Heavy movement last week, but a light slaughter. So I told you I thought we were going to end up with a pretty big movement of negotiated trade last week because the higher market, and indeed we did. Almost 80,000 head moved in your 5-area feeding region, which I like to see 100 for a big movement, but you know, every week we have fewer sellers of negotiated cattle, and we're just dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. So I'm going to take the close to 80,000 and say that's pretty decent. There were 93,700 negotiated sales nationwide. I'd sure like to see over 100 there, but you know, it just goes to show you, when you have more negotiated trade, you have a higher market. When you have a higher market, you have more negotiated trade. And people that opposed the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act used to argue about that and say, oh, no, don't have anything to do with each other. Every time we have a higher market, there's more negotiated trade. Every time we have a big rise in negotiated trade, we have a higher market. People like competition, and that's just the way it goes. But good movement there. Our slaughter, as we mentioned on our last visit, did not quite reach 600,000. So yes, they are tweaking back on that. But this beef demand has really found another gear here as we're getting close to these early summer holidays, graduations and things like that. And some of these wholesale buyers are hand to mouth, and they've come in on that spot market. We've seen the box beef cutout value on choice jump 17, 18 bucks. Now it did kind of stall out on Monday. Selects was up nearly 2 bucks though. So, but your box beef kind of simmered down on Monday. Your board simmered down on Monday. Didn't really slip anything, a little bit on your out front feeders, but you might say that it overdid the high on them on late last week. So we just kind of slowed a little bit, and I'm not making light of the higher market. I mean, we've got an outstanding market. You know, we're just 2 or 3 days trade from being the highest all-time trade we've ever had on fat cattle. We've got several feeder cattle, and calves that are hitting all-time prices for where they're being sold. I mean, it's a fantastic market, but and it's very impressive wherever you go. And I'm talking about little country sales and everywhere you go. Going to name some smaller local sale barns and things where the market's getting found there too, but maybe not quite as exciting as it was on Friday afternoon and Saturday, because when we get a little bit of headroom like we did with that fat cattle trade on Friday being so much higher, and then your box beef cutout values being higher and the board being supportive, then that gives the feeder market some room to run, and you start hearing prices that you haven't heard before, and then immediately, like I said on the last visit, your feeder buyers take all the slack out of the market up to where cattle kind of pencil, even beyond where they'll pencil. And so when you get into a Monday that's reflecting that same market, yeah, I mean, we're seeing the big prices, but it's not quite as exciting as it was late last week. Now we've got your Tuesday and Wednesday sales saying, come on, come on, come on, let's have some of that for ourselves, and we'll likely see that happen on these early to middle week sales here too. And if we get a little more slack from your box beef, from your board, fat cattle trade higher again this week, then we're going to move up another notch or two. But it's a very impressive cattle market all the way around. I was talking to a friend of mine that's out east where I used to be in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. They were selling fat cattle well over $2 there. Slaughter bulls as high as $2.20 and above. I mean, just big time markets, prices that you've never heard anywhere before. But look at your board to start the week out. June live cattle futures up 42 cents at 181.47. That is still a $7 basis, guys. Our weighted average on live steers was 188.5, and we're trading our June live cattle spot market at 181.5, not even. So encourage your negotiated sellers to not look at that basis. Go ahead and ask for more, demand more for cattle this week. Makes the basis even better, guys. August live cattle down 50 cents at 178.55. Your back months were just kind of mixed, but really not anything, from down 12 cents to up 15 cents. May feeder cattle were down just 2 cents at 246.70, and starting to just get right in stride with your CME cash feeder cattle index and being very close to that at the close on Monday there. But your out fronts were off. August was down 137 at 258.47. Your back months were down a nickel on the furthest out traded month is all, and down as much as $1.20. July corn was down 4.5 cents a bushel at 4.56. Soybeans down 5 3/4 at 12.42 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 6 1/4 cents a bushel at 6.90 1/2. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle sales in the 5-area feeding region, 78,800 head, as I mentioned earlier, compares with 68,300 the previous week and 60,400 the same week a year ago. Live sales of fat steers and heifers in your 5-area ranged from 184 to 191. That was $1 to $3 higher. Your weighted average on live steers in the 5-area was 188.54. That was up $2.60 compared to the previous week's weighted average. Dress sales ranged from 295 all the way up to 306. That was $1 to $10 higher. Your weighted average on dress steers 299.39, up 411. As a whole, your Northern Plains sold $3 to $5 higher, mostly at 190. Dress sales were 2 to 5 higher, from $2.98 to $3. Southern Plains was $2 to $3 higher at 186. Now nationwide, we sold 93,700 head compared to 10,000 less than that the previous week, and 75,000 was all the same week a year ago. Of that 93,700, 33% of those are for the 2 to 4 week delivery. which you got to take into account. We got Memorial Week in there. Negotiated grid sales, 48,100. Forward contracting sales last week, they've been down quite a bit here the last several weeks, down again, 21,300 head forward contracted. And formula sales were kind of on the light side for them at 258,400. And so, you know, we saw kind of a little bit more in comparison negotiated than some of the others. So we like to see negotiated trade. Of your 4 out of 5 areas that we got information from, Iowa last week altogether sold 30,600 negotiated. Nebraska sold about 10,000 more negotiated last week than they did the previous week at 28,300. Kansas sold almost 15,000 negotiated, and Texas just 5,000. Box beef cutout values to start the week on Monday. We're down a little bit. Choice was down 75 cents at $312.70, but selects were up $1.95 at $299.35. Your slaughter started the week out pretty good, 120,000. That's 4,000 more than the same time a week ago, and 5,000 less than the same time a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Specialty Risk Insurance is there to help you manage price risk, one calf at a time. SpecialtyRisk.ag is their website. Now, we don't have .ag websites very often, but you're starting to see those type of endings more all the time. But go to SpecialtyRisk.ag. It is your one-stop shop for all your ag insurance needs there, guys. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Based on an 800-pound cash steer up through your middle 12 states, through Monday sales sitting at 245.23. That was up $1.25 from where it ended last week. Of course, that's a 7-day moving average, so you have to take that into account. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was 246.87, and about $1.50 higher in your real-time index. Mostly because they have harried South Dakota included in their real-time, in their CME index, and we don't have them in the real-time index. So we're hoping to get those and some of these others that we'd like to have. Notice we're going to be getting Galt, California. Of course, that doesn't go in the index because they're way out west. But if you have a sale barn, you'd like to be included in our markets, get mentioned more on here all the time. If you've got computerized clerking at your sale barn, we can get that done. Let's talk about your big sales on Monday. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 6,500 for them. They underestimated a little bit, but not too much. Steers are $3 to $6 higher. Heifers $4 to $8 higher, with spots as much as $12 higher. No sale next week in Oklahoma City due to Memorial Day. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 9,800. Now, they underestimated. You hardly ever see Joplin underestimate, but they were thinking they might get 11,000 in there, which was going to be awful impressive, but they got nearly 10,000 in there, which indeed is impressive, especially for this time of the year, guys. But the market reporter there, Federal State Market Reporter, called the steers unevenly from $4 lower to $10 higher. Now, listen to Jackie Moore's YouTube market report there, which I encourage you guys to watch too. He said the lower that he saw, and he said there was some lower, it was some big 6-weight ball and steer calves. And he said indeed they was a little bit off, but I mean, it's starting to get hot and humid in southwest Missouri, and it was hot and humid on Monday. And he said they may have been just a little bit cheaper, but everything else was dollars and dollars higher. The heifer sold $6 to $12 higher, but really good sale there at Joplin Regional Stockyards, which you can watch all Joplin sales on DVAuction.com. Talk about a market up there in the bottom edge of Iowa, Russell Livestock Market in Russell, Iowa, 6,200 for them. Now, they normally have a big Memorial Day special. They decided to live their life and not have the Memorial Day special sale this Memorial Day, so they had the big special here this Monday. It was kind of a calf special. A lot of fall calvers up in that part of the country, and man, look how well those fall calves sold. It was your National BeefWire stick out sale of the day. Russell Livestock Market on DVAuction every week, guys. Look at your best tested weight. 602 head of the 4-weight steers in Russell, Iowa, average 470 at 360, 360. 930 head of 5-weight steers. Now they'd be fancy and 99% black. They weighed 558 with a weighted average price of $329.14. There were 960 head of 6-weight steers. They averaged 643 at 307.06. 400 head of 7-weight steer calves, Russell, Iowa. They averaged 746 at 272.27. Look at some heifers. 706 head of 4-weight heifers in Russell, Iowa. Had a weighted average weight of 456 and a weighted average price of $322.32. There was 880 head of 5-weight steers, or heifers, excuse me. They averaged 551 at 293.99. My goodness. 474 head of 6-weight heifer calves averaged 632 at 274.06, and 450 head 700-weight heifers averaged 723 at 252.01. Going to give you a couple of markets we don't talk about very often, and you don't normally associate them with having big strings in there. But the market is so good, you can find it just about anywhere, guys. And these are active sales. How about Cleveland County Livestock Auction in Heber Springs, Arkansas? DVAuction broadcaster, guys. They had 120 steers in there, weighed 900 pounds, and bring $231.50 in Heber Springs, Arkansas, guys. Anywhere you take them, the freight would eat that up to some of the highest 900-pound steers you can find anywhere. How about Central Ozark Stockyards, just south of Ava, Missouri? They sell 54 steers, weigh 605 at $325 a pound. My goodness. Now some bigger regional sales. How about Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri? They sell 96 heifers, weigh 584, nearly a 600-pound heifer at $301.25. Wow. How about Elgin Livestock Sales up in Elgin, Nebraska? That's eastern side of Nebraska, not western, guys, but 56 steers, weigh 1034 at $234.50 in Elgin, Nebraska. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Aberdeen Livestock Sales in Aberdeen, South Dakota, with 75 steers, weighed 816, bring $265.50. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.